I want this chance to show you that your God in karate is so much nonsense. And that's quite easy to do. I know Kung Fu.
Show me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another exciting edition of H8L Presents Fist Fights and Fried Rice. This is episode 24, sitting around, catching up on shit. For the last handful of weeks, we've been talking the ins and outs of pro wrestling, so now we're going to get back on our bullshit and talk about the ins and outs of what's been going on in the world of combat sports. Joining me this evening, I have with us the connoisseur of all things spin kicks, the throat crusher himself, the tapper of all things man meat to the mustache. I bring to you a one Mustang.
What's going on?
Also brought with us this evening, a man that needs no introduction, my spirit animal, one half of the soon to be distributed and put out there on the airwaves for those to hear, two woke girls. More of that information coming soon, but I bring to you as cool as the other side of the pillow, a one UTBABYA.
I'm like so in the house right now.
Also brought with us this evening, the connoisseur of all things combat sports, the Rain Man of martial arts, the self-appointed black man of Dagestan. I bring to you Justice Magnificent.
What's going on, people in the house?
So gentlemen, once again, we're just sitting around talking shit, getting caught up on the ins and outs of combat sports over the last handful of weeks. And before we get into the most recent pay-per-view of UFC, I wanted to touch base and talk with you guys in regards to Tyson and Jones. I'm dying to hear what your thoughts were in regards. But now that we're actually back on the show, I really wanted to just touch base on how you guys felt about the event, how you feel about the Legends League. Because to me, I thought Tyson looked fucking fantastic. And every couple of moments or every couple of punches thrown, I saw little glimpses of the beast that was Tyson, and it reminded me why that man was one of the most feared strikers on the fucking planet. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
So Tyson looked amazing. Roy looked old, which was surprising, right? Because you thought it was going to be the other way around. Because Roy competed 2017, 2018 or so. So you thought that he would have been the one that was closer to competing shape or competition shape, but no, that wasn't it at all. I thought Tyson looked amazing, especially, obviously, 54 years old. Yeah, like you said, glimmer of, this is still Tyson. This dude still hits hard. Like, I was watching some of those shots, and I was like, damn. So Roy is at least in shape enough to take him. I feel like we got what we paid for.
Yeah.
To be honest, you're watching two 50-some-odd-year-old men put in work, so... No, that was good. As far as the future of the Legends League, I say if Tyson isn't fighting, then I don't think there's really going to be too much interest, to be honest with you. I wouldn't pay to see Evander versus... If it's not Evander versus Lewis or Tyson, then I don't necessarily care to see it, right? Okay. So outside of Tyson, there's only a handful of people that you can have fight to actually sustain that lead if he's actually not fighting.
So for you, you feel like the Legends League pretty much hinders on Tyson's involvement.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's fair. I dig that.
Yeah.
UTBABYA, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, Mustang kind of stole my my assessment, kind of everything. I will say, it basically for the casual fan, there is no way they're tuning in unless they see Tyson's name on there. And maybe you might get a few if you put, names together, like he was saying, like if it's like Evander and Lewis or, I'm trying to think of any other guys that might. There's a very small pool of people for whom the casual is going to tune in, especially considering that, I don't know that a lot of us would tune in unless there's, unless there's the one or two of those big names that we know, and we're fans of. We're fight fans. So, yeah, I thought it was a good match. It was a real fun match to watch. I love that they did 2 minutes because it kept them fresh. It kept them looking good the whole time. And yeah, man, Tyson looked fucking scary.
Oh yeah,
Scariest 54-year-old man on earth.
Facts. Justice, your thoughts, sir?
The same, man. Tyson looked great. Roy looked, old. Yeah. I mean,
you were searching. Yeah. You were trying to be real nice.
Yeah, I was trying, but yeah, he looked old. Like the jab that he was throwing. I mean, you saw the purpose in it, and it didn't look like a Roy Jones jab. It wasn't the guy who knocked out Montel Griffin in the first round. It wasn't that Roy. It wasn't even. It didn't look like a glimmer of that Roy. You didn't see a lot of what you saw in Tyson. With the slipping side to side, uppercut to hooks.
Right.
You didn't see a lot of that with Roy. His feet looked a little heavy, and it was just different.
Well, he did take a couple body shots that were just sounded horrific.
Well, and here's the good thing though, Mike was high. So,
yeah. Yep.
A sober Mike who's not imbalanced and not chemically balanced. Yeah, that Mike probably would have tried to kill Roy.
Agreed.
I think Tyson did. He didn't. He was trying to hit him, but he wasn't trying to hurt him. He didn't hit the gas. Yeah. He didn't step on the gas.
Yeah.
There was a level of professional respect.
Yeah.
That was shown.
Tyson has a fight. He has a fight on everyone, but I would take like on the undercard some Roy Jones. I would like to see Roy Jones and Anderson. I think we deserve that. Dana White, you owe us big time. You let Conor go in there and get beat up by Floyd.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because my sentiments are pretty much in line with everyone else's. Like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I think we got our money's worth. Like I said, Tyson looked fucking amazing. Jones looked old, but that's fine. In terms of the longevity of the Legends League, I'm inclined to agree with you guys and Mustang and so forth. Outside of Tyson main eventing or at least being on the card in some kind of way, it's outside of Tyson. I can't picture. I really can't picture the masses wanting to drop hard-earned money to get the pay-per-view buys past $1 million to see like Chris Bird versus who the fuck ever. Like I just can't picture that. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't mind seeing the UFC create a Legends League because I think there's a lot of entertaining matchups that, in my opinion, would hold up better than watching two fossilized dinosaurs attempting to swing punches at each other. But I do agree that I would love to see a Roy Jones Jr. versus an Anderson Silva. I would love to see that.
Now, based on what we saw maybe a month or so ago, when who was it? It was Nog and who did he fight? I'm trying to
Nog and Shogun.
Yeah. It was Nog and Shogun. Based on that, and then stuff like I don't know that Tito and I mean I'm a little. Who do you want to see fight besides like some of the recent retired legends? Like, because
just come out and say like you have no interest in the Legend League for the.
It's going to be rough, man. There's going to be maybe two or three
honestly,
matches.
I'll be honest with you. I do have an interest in it. I honestly do. I would like to see cats like oh man, what's that cat's name? Marco Huaz have another run. Like I said, and I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for anything competitive. Honestly, I just want to see the legends of old that made the sport what it is today. Just have another shot at bullshit before just fading off into obscurity.
You know where the perfect time is, the perfect place for them is? Submission Underground. That's where they can go.
I was just going to say that.
League. Yep. They can have a Legends Grappling League, right? I have zero interest in watching a bunch of. I don't need a geriatric fighting championship.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just, and that's not to be insulting, right? Like the human body is like you have your prime and you have a place where you're able to compete. The thing that makes the UFC, because you have fighters. They like to say, "Oh, we have the best fighters in the world." Let's be for real, right? It's not the most difficult thing in the world to have a record where you can get a chance at the UFC, right? I'd say a couple of us on this call, if we ever would have gone pro and selected our record accordingly, we could have had a chance, right, at making it to the UFC, right? So you don't have to be the best in the world to get there, right? In order to stay there, you have to be, pretty good, right? Or you have to have some type of entertainment value. But with that being said, despite the fact that...
To me, that's what it is. For me, it would be the entertainment value of it. I wouldn't mind seeing Tank and Cabbage just old swing at each other just for the sake of it.
Yeah, but the skill level isn't there. It's not the skill level.
See, you're looking at it like
it's not married.
Right. It's not going to be like what the fuck we saw this past Saturday with two fucking legends. No, we're not going to see that at all. But I would rather these guys do something like a Legends League than look like fucking JDS last night.
Oh yeah, okay, completely agree. You mean, so you're saying as opposed to staying too long and just getting fed to the young shark?
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because let's call it what it is. I am an Anderson fan until I fucking die. But that motherfucker had no business being in the cage with Cannonier. He had no business being in the cage in his last fight. Honestly, when cats don't realize that it's time for them to step the fuck away, that's when you need to have a Legends League.
Yeah.
So what you're really talking about is more of a Masters division. So like,
yes,
so people who are very recently active can compete, but it's not going to be quite the same level, and they're not going to be in there with people that they have no business being in there with.
Right, for those of us that watched the fights last night, anybody, and I implore anyone, help me fucking understand on paper where it makes sense for JDS to fight that fucking Hulk of a man.
No.
Yeah, no. Well, so that brings up.
And then complain about it once he gets knocked out.
Right. This is where I'm going with that. Like, think about. Okay, now go back and think about the Legends League. Tyson's Legends League. You look at I forgot that basketball player's name. The motherfucker that fucking Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, we're gonna get. I want to get to that.
Yeah,
I want to
now.
That. Yeah.
I will be the first one to admit, when I first heard about that fight, I laughed fucking hysterically. Because for one, I don't know who the fuck Logan Paul is. I don't know what the fuck he's famous for. I don't know anything about him. I don't know. Apparently he's got a brother. I don't know. They did some shit. I don't fucking know.
They did stupid shit on YouTube.
That's pretty much the gist that I get of it. And then you have, a former basketball player. And for some reason, these two idiots, I don't know, either cross paths or talk some shit online or whatever the fuck the case may be. And somehow this fight came to be. Fine. Whatever. This, in my opinion, is nothing more than a new age version of the old school freak show fights of Pride.
Yeah.
And those were some of the things that made Pride entertaining for the individuals that didn't want to sit there and watch the bloodshed of two real warriors going at it, or watch the technique, the grace and skill of a good scramble between two great grapplers. They had the freak show fights thrown in there for people who had short fucking attention spans, who either wanted to watch somebody die real quick or get fucking snapped in half real quick. Say what you will and say what you like, but there is a place for that, and I think that Tyson did a good job with his Legends League reminding people of that with that Logan Paul fight, which I can't wait to hear Justin's thoughts on that bullshit. But that's why I'm thinking, we can call it a Legends League, a Masters division, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but I definitely think that there's a place for that bullshit, especially for recently, and I hate to say it, but fighters who have the harsh reality of coming to terms with the fact of your day is fucking done. Yeah,
Father Time already tapped them. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And I think so. Instead of having it like, I think this is a great, like, this Legend League thing is a great idea to get that idea in the forefront. But I think they belong on a proper card, not their own league. I think there should be a Masters division in the UFC or something like that.
Oh no! See, I don't even think it should be in the UFC, because for me, that's a waste. That's a waste of a spot on a pay-per-view.
Okay, well then maybe, and so then maybe with the kind of as we've talked about, there's not that many matches that like we would like to see,
right?
Just one particular combat sport. So maybe you make a Legends League that's boxing and UFC and submission grappling, and so you have this card of these different combat sports.
Exactly. You can just throw that bullshit. They can throw that bullshit on the fucking Fight Pass app or whatever. What the fuck ever. It doesn't have to be pay per view. Doesn't have to be pay per view or nothing.
Make cards that are full cards that would actually be something that people will want to tune into.
Exactly.
Instead of just like one fight.
And now people have a choice if they can just fucking click on the shit if they want to see it or not, as opposed to taking up a perfectly good slot on a pay per view. That would suck. Could you imagine yesterday's pay per view or whatever, and then just dead smack in the middle of it, Logan Paul versus fucking Nike motherfucker? I don't want to see that. That's a waste of a time. That's a waste of a promo. I gotta watch a real motherfucker fight.
They usually don't put old versus old. They usually feed them to the young sharks, or the young lions.
And to me, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's rough to watch.
So it's exciting, but it is rough to watch.
Yeah.
Right? But they sell it to a market where it's like, okay, well, we want you to understand how great this next guy is and how vicious they are. So we're gonna literally feed the old to the young, right? And they have a lot of fans out there who are just blood crazed and they love that type of stuff, right? Then you have the people who are actual hardcores or actual martial artists and be like, look, man, you shouldn't be competing. It's stupid, man. You shouldn't be 44 years old competing with a 25-year-old or a 28-year-old.
Completely agree.
Right? Unless you're Yoel Romero, then you can compete with whoever
you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you defied, fucking physics. It's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, even Jacare. Yeah, Jacare. I mean, and Jacare didn't look bad. He just got, oh my god, that Kevin. That's we're getting ahead of ourselves, but even to that point, it's not necessarily a matter of skill level anymore because people age at different rates, right? So there's some 40-year-olds who are extremely athletic and quite a bit, right? But when you think about the accumulation of damage that you've taken, right? When that chin goes, right? And there may be a couple people who have taken some knockouts that can get back in there and do pretty well. Reem is one of them, or has been one of them. But
and in the lower weight classes, you see the reaction time issue. Yeah, that's why that's part of the reason you don't see a lot of there's the power thing for heavyweights, but then also reaction time they're so quick at the lower weight classes that once you get into your 30s, I mean your reaction time, that's where that precipitous drop off happens. So
I don't think I'm that much. I don't think I'm that much slower in my 30s than I was.
It's based on the individual, but the trend is that right around 32 or something like that is you can actually tell from pro gamers that's actually very few of them are in their 30s.
About video gamers?
Yeah, because really? So much of it is based on reaction time, especially fighting games and stuff. Yeah, it's a whole big thing.
Oh, that makes me feel terrible. That explains why my cousins killed me in Super Smash when I started.
There you go.
Anyway, that's the sign.
Nah, that's more so I got in practice. No, it's not a sign.
All right, so let me ask you guys this then, since we just touched base on it. Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Nate Robinson, your thoughts?
I thought Nate Robinson didn't know how to fight. He thought he was a street fighter. He came in against somebody who was a legit trained boxer, and he got what he got.
Yeah.
And on that note, I have nothing to say because he just said it all, and that was my point. That was going to be my point. You can't, you got this rich suburban white kid, all kind of YouTube money. He said he's going to box. He wants to be a boxer. So him and his brother call in guys and trainer and Shannon Briggs, and for the last 2 years they're going to train boxing. And Nate Robinson, slam dunk contest winner 3 times, good athlete. He said, well, fuck him. I'm just going to go in here and whoop his ass because I'm Nate Robinson.
Yep.
Well, Nate.
How'd that work out, Nate?
Yeah. Have you woken up yet?
Hell no.
He basically ran across the damn ring and tried to throw haymakers. And I'm like, all right, well, he's fucking done.
And that was the only chance he had. That was the only chance he had to run in and hope a Hail Mary punch landed.
Yeah. So people talk about Jake Paul, man. He's I think he's probably decent at boxing at this point. He's gonna get his. I'm sorry, it's not him. His brother's gonna get his ass whooped by Mayweather. And then on top of that, Paul's sitting here talking about he wants to fight Dylan Dennis and Conor. Conor fucking murdered this man. And I don't know how good Dennis is as far as boxing is concerned. But what I can say is someone who's made it to that pinnacle as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned. pro, man, that's not the person you want it with.
I agree and disagree. The reason why I agree and disagree is I think that both Conor and Dennis and anyone that has looked at the Nate Robinson fight isn't stupid. They know that Tyson was onto something by putting Jake Paul on that card. YouTube stars right now and all the Instagram influencer shit right now, that's big fucking business.
So hot right now.
Yeah, it's big fucking business. So Conor's not going to go in there and just fucking mollywop this dude with one punch and then stroll back to the back. No, he'll drag it out. He'll let this kid get plenty of offense. He might even trip over his own foot and stumble a little bit, get some oohs and ahs. The more likes, the more views, the more of that YouTube money. And that is actually fucking genius for boxing right now.
I disagree with Conor. I think Conor has enough money to where he will just flatline him.
Yeah, I think that too.
No. I'm not saying. No. So you guys are misunderstanding. I'm not saying for Conor. No. Conor's not a fucking idiot.
Oh, okay.
Conor will go in there. He knows he could end this fight in a moment's notice. Yes, Conor has more money than fucking God right about now. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to do. But he also is all about that legacy.
Yeah.
Capitalize. Get that YouTube money. Get them YouTube sponsors, all that type of shit. What company that does a lot of their promotion and production and all their shit and advertising through fucking YouTube wouldn't want Conor McGregor as a part of it?
You're right.
And Proper 12 Whiskey.
Bam. Say it again, Justice.
Proper 12 Whiskey.
There it is.
Who was on? If you watch any boxing match in the last 3 weeks, guess who was on that match?
Bam.
Yeah.
12 Whiskey.
Getting that Vegas money is all that matters. Getting that YouTube money, all that matters.
Sports media has trained people, period, to think that boxing for a long time was the end all to be all. And a lot of people never understood that when you look at boxing, not boxing the actual art or martial art of boxing, we're talking about the sport, which has rules, which when you look at boxing, fisticuffs art, the techniques that they use, like Jack Johnson and even the dirty stuff that Jack Dempsey did from back in the day, the Chitlin strut, those, the old black boxers, the techniques that they used then are illegal now for a reason. Nobody understands that because they don't talk about that as far as history. They don't want us to think that. They have to say that, they had to say Gene Tunney was the best at that time. They had to say, Rocky Marciano was the best. They had to say all these different boxers was the best, and it's been ingrained in us for over 100 years now.
Well said. Lobo, how you doing this evening, sir?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Excellent. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Got 2 COVID survivors here, bro.
Right.
Both. I probably would have shot myself.
Right.
Like that.
Oh man. So we talked about the Logan Pauls and we talked about Tyson and Jones and the Legends Leagues and whether or not if MMA should adapt something similar. But we're going to shift our attention over to MMA from boxing, but involving a boxer. Clerissa Shields coming to MMA.
Ooh.
Man.
Yep.
Now, Justice, I'm going to go ahead and open this floor up to you because I know you have some strong opinions in where she is choosing to do her training. So, I'm going to open this floor up to you, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a segment that I'm liking to refer to as, yeah, I said it.
I'm gonna be another rapper for popping off at the mouth with shit I shouldn't have said.
Alright, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you used to.
These motherfuckers are thinking I'm playing, thinking I'm saying this shit, thinking it just to be saying it.
Floor is yours, sir.
Well, first, I love that intro. It just pumped me up to talk more shit and say more things. I appreciate it.
You're certainly welcome.
But, I I don't think Clarissa Shields moving to MMA boxing for women. She's probably gonna go down as the best to ever step in the ring, if not one of the best. Other than some people like Ann Wolf and Layla Ali, which I think she would have whooped Layla Ali's ass.
Agreed.
But there's neither here nor there. But the move to MMA, we know it's about money. It's about getting a name out there. She was a champion in boxing. But how in the hell, do you be a champion boxer and not get advisors to advise you on, what you're getting yourself into? Because I'm disappointed at the fact that why the hell would you go to Jackson Wink and train? Just because Holly Holm is there or John Jones? John Jones is the GOAT, of course. Okay, fine. But Holly Holm, let's look at it, because that's comparable. Holly Holm got her ass whooped by 3 or 4 different strikers. The only thing she throws is this crazy 1-2 where she screams. No bleep kick. and she's fucking 40, right? So the last moment she had was against Ronda Rousey, which right now that's been that's a millennium ago in women's MMA, because women's MMA has just transitioned to something totally different now. Even though Ronda was a big star, but as far as women's MMA, we're on a whole different level as far as skills right now. That was the last great thing she did. We haven't seen her do very much of shit, and you want to go down there and fight and train with her?
To be fair, she was whooping Misha's ass until she got choked out.
She lost though.
But
you know why?
But it was a freak. Like props to Misha. Misha held on when she she got that choke at the end of it, right? But she was whooping Misha's ass, right? She went toe to toe with Durandamy, who's a fucking amazing striker, and she did pretty good against Cyborg. Man, Home isn't a slouch.
Yeah, and she did how good against Shevchenko?
Yeah, look, first of all, Shevchenko is like she's the most,
and she's smaller.
Beautiful. She's the most beautiful, best female striker ever created.
Smaller. He's smaller.
We're just gonna leave
yeah.
Shevchenko alone.
So what I'm getting to is her evolution into a MMA fighter has been not.
Would you say lackluster?
No, it hasn't been bad, but she's not getting to a point now where she's learning how to grapple. She's a fucking black belt in Gato Jutsu, whatever the fuck that shit is, and Ed Jackson Wing. and you getting choked out of Misha Tate, but you whipping her ass on the feet. It's MMA. I got you. Let's go. It's MMA. All I'm saying is, if you're a champion boxer and you say I want to make the transition, you cannot tell me she's from Flint, Michigan. Fucking an hour and a half flight in a passport. She can be in Canada with Faraz Zahabi. She can be in a couple of hours. She can be in New York, Jersey, Renzo Gracie, Marcelo Garcia. She can be in Vegas, where you got Extreme Couture, where you got Dewey Cooper, who's an actual boxing trainer who trains kickboxers, who has experience that's going to be valuable in a transition of you doing that versus going to Jackson Wing.
Right. Mike Winklejohn is like a masterful striking coach, right? Greg Jackson, he had Cowboy, bro. He had Cowboy.
That's Brandon Gibson. No, that's Brandon Gibson.
No, he had so okay.
No,
so
that's Brandon Gibson.
We want. Okay. Well, let's go back. Let's go to Jackson Winkle, fucking Wink and Jackson. The people that they've had that have come through their gym, right?
Right.
So you had Rashad Evans, you had GSP, and we'll throw GSP out because we can say GSP is more for Ross, right? But he did do a stint at Jackson Wink, right? You had Cowboy.
Overeem.
And obviously you had Jones. No, Overeem wasn't. I don't count Overeem.
What the fuck? How do we not count Overeem?
Overeem was there for like 2 years, a year and a half.
How long was GSP there? Like a month and a half?
Okay, fine. Whatever. We count the ring. You had the ring. You had Travis Brown. Wasn't Travis Brown there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis Brown.
Well,
He's judging Carlos Condit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you count Condit, because Condit started with Arizona Combat Sports.
Facts.
First, initially.
But he's been with Jackson Wink.
Wink
for
only since his first beginning stint in the UFC. Only.
I mean, he did some damn good things in the UFC though.
He was great. He was great in WEC though.
Facts.
Okay.
Damn great.
Now, what were you going to say, UTBABYA?
I was gonna say, well, didn't Rashad come in with wrestling pedigree that opened up his striking? Also, he's an absolute fucking freak with his hand speed.
Facts.
And then Travis Brown is 6'12". Should have been the fucking champion, but ran into Arlovsky, and Arlovsky said, "Hey, nice, try this." And
they work in the same gym, right?
Yeah. but still, like, there's no reason Travis Brown shouldn't have been the fucking heavyweight champ.
In his grasp.
Other than like his something just took a dive in his training. Like, I feel like a lot of the people who went through there already had a great pedigree and then wanted to get better at striking within MMA, or they just had significant physical gifts or just an intuitive ability for some aspect of the fight game.
And what UTBABYA said, he's saying it in a nice way. But
yeah,
I'm
but does
just
she
being
want to be those people? Does she want to be those people, or does she want to be champion?
Bam!
Like,
it is.
I think she wants to be champion, and like
she's gonna be a 45er, right?
I don't know.
They're talking about her fighting Kayla Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
That's 45. So here's the thing.
Well, no, that's 55. That's 55 technically.
Oh, okay.
She's fighting 45 in Titan. Was it Titan or
okay?
Whichever. Yeah.
Gotcha. So if she ever made it to the UFC, then it would be 45. Here's the thought, though. Right, like Nunes is gonna be gone before she gets to the UFC. Right, Nunes has already talked about like fighting a couple more fights, and that's pretty much it. Right?
How old is Clerissa?
I don't know.
23, 24.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's not old. Right?
She just needs to move to Brazil.
She has some time, right? She has some time, but by the time she gets there, Nunes is going to be gone.
Yeah, she should just move to Brazil.
I have to agree with Justice's comments in regards to all the camps that she could have gone to. I hear everything you're saying too, Mustang, and I don't disagree with you. But look at all those names that you named off, and the majority of them are either gone or hit a terrible skid and went on a pretty significant losing streak.
Yeah,
she used to go to a camp.
They had a
camp.
They had a run there.
Right, they did. Oh no, I'm never gonna take that away from Jackson Wink. They had a fucking hell of a run, and they definitely established themselves as one of the best mixed martial art camps on the fucking planet for their day.
And that's why she's there.
And that day has passed.
That's why she's there.
Let me ask you a question. What UFC champions have came through Jackson Wink?
Rashad Jones. Who else?
Overing.
Georges.
Overing wasn't a UFC champion,
but he was a champion of other shit. I just want to throw that out there.
I'm sure you do. But serious question: what champions have come through Jackson Wink?
We're gonna say Jones, Evans, GSP. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Jones and GSP.
Condit home. So that's 5 of them.
Okay, so you had Carlos Condit, WEC, and then he was interim champion.
I'm talking about interim. Yeah, interim. Champion.
Yeah, so then you had Holly Holm.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that was ever UFC champion to come through Jackson was Rashad Evans, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
After Rashad, then it was John Jones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Diego Sanchez, Swanson, Joey Villasenor, all these great names that had major runs in lower shows did not work out.
But hold on.
Once they got to the big show.
So Cub has done well, right? Cub has had some ups and downs, but he's done well. Diego is just crazy. I'm not gonna sit here.
Look, I'm a big Cub Swanson fan, but let's be real. Jose Aldo, he railed him big time in WEC.
Let's make a pact, right?
Let's make a pact.
We need to make a pact with one another, all right? Seriously, I need everybody to take this shit seriously, right? We shall never say anything that reminds us of how great Aldo used to be before he stopped fucking kicking people. All right,
yeah.
I don't want to talk about Aldo because every time I talk about Aldo, I just imagine all the fights he could have continued to fucking dominate.
Agreed.
If he'd have just fucking kicked, man. I'm just like, so anyway, let's not So all those
That's a show in itself.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, you will exclude him from that list, sir.
Swanson had a run. Yeah. Who else he ran into? Oliveira. When he ran into Charles Oliveira, he ran into.
Did you see that? Did you see that motherfucker last night?
Man,
dude, Charles.
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Okay, sorry. I got it.
To make a long story short, again, like Taz said, a lot of people had developing skill sets, developing this, or they was already had developed the necessary skills. They just need to put things together strategically, and I think Jackson Wink is great for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're starting out from scratch, I got this mountain of clay, and I'm finna mold a fighter. I'm not going to give it to them.
Hell no.
Not until I start sculpting.
Well, but okay. So here's the other side of the argument.
When it comes to the details, then yeah.
Here's the other side of the argument, though. Right.
Go ahead.
Just what you said. You said they all started with strong foundations, and then they came in. Right. Clerissa Shields, like, say what you will, she's not an MMA person, but she has a very, very strong combat sports foundation. Right. So it's kind of similar concept.
Hold on.
I know I'm doing wordplay a little bit right now.
Well, but can I be specific about it? Like, so the only one.
No, because you're not gonna prove my point for me.
Jesus Christ!
I yield. I yield.
Do no harm.
No,
go ahead, UTBABYA. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think, with the exception of Holly Holm, they were all those people came in with non-striking pedigrees. Holly Holm had a striking pedigree already, and let's be honest, part of the reason that she got Ronda was because that was like the birthing, that was the nascent portion of women's MMA. They were just coming out of Ronda's rule, and we were starting to get what we got in like the late 90s, early 2000s for men's MMA, like where we actually started seeing, people putting stuff together well, not just being one-trick ponies. And so I don't know that Holly is a great example, just because I think she was more a product of the time that she came. Obviously, I'm not downplaying anyone's skills. I'm just saying at that level, it became that she was, I think, a product of the time that she was in, and that she happened to be in the right place at the right time with the right skills. But now, like we were just saying, like Amanda Nunes, if she doesn't go away, Clerissa Shields has no shot.
Gotta agree.
That's what we're saying is like, especially if she stays with. I think if she stays with this gym, because the champions, like I said, the champions they produced already had a great pedigree in wrestling or some kind of grappling, and were physical freaks. And then they just had to tweak a few things and put them together. Whereas it's a whole new world when you don't have any grappling experience. I mean, we all know that. So, luckily Shields is young, but I feel like she needs to really, really address the clear weaknesses in her game.
I honestly think she needs to go to a camp that's not going to cater to her. I think she needs to go to a camp where they're going to treat her like absolute fucking dog shit and make her work in the fucking trenches like everyone else. And I don't think Jackson's is that camp.
Yeah. She should be counting lights for the entire first year.
Yeah, she's she's on Instagram. There is John Jones and her and Karate Hottie. They're all dancing on TikTok and having a good old time. And not saying they're not training, but you're having a great time. But
she needs to be
in my mind,
the fuck out
I'm
and
thinking,
dragged through sweat across the mat. That's what the fuck needs to be happening to her. She needs to be getting her ass kicked and leaving that gym or any gym every day of the fucking week with her head down, questioning why the fuck she got into this. Because for all of us, we've all trained. We've all grappled or rolled in some kind of way, and let's call it what it is. I don't give a shit how good of a boxer you are. I don't give a shit how good of a kickboxer you are. I don't give a shit how good your Muay Thai is, or your fucking Krav Maga, your karate, or your fucking ping pong, whatever the fuck other shit you're great at. The moment you get on the fucking mat, all of them skills go out the fucking window. You become a fish out of fucking water, and you're fucking helpless. And how do you get better? By constantly getting tapped the fuck out by people who are better than you.
Yeah.
and when Eric Hawani asked DC on Monday on their show, and DC, I can tell. I felt like DC wanted to say something similar
Yeah.
about Jackson
Oh,
Week's
yeah.
not the best place, but he pretty much said he was like, "That's a good start." He didn't say that was the wrong place. He's like, "That's a good start." Meaning to me, him being it's Daniel Cormier, it's DC.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best team captain, aka. If he says it's a good start, that's code word for me saying, all right, you can get your experience, but you need to come to a real gym, get beat up, get some wrestling in, get some rounds in with some actual hard heads, not no superstars down at Jackson Wink, dancing on TikTok. How about getting choked out with a gi on for about 6 or 7 months straight before you do anything?
Facts.
Or how about getting double legged and driven into the mat, 100 times a day? That type of thing.
Facts.
I don't know if she's gonna get that there.
She's not. She's gonna be treated like a fucking rock star.
I haven't watched her fight, so somebody knows how many knockouts does she have on her record.
She does. See, Shields is rugged.
She got
She's skillful.
Percentage-wise.
She's skillful.
How many different ones?
She doesn't get a lot of knockouts.
She doesn't.
Okay,
She's a slick boxer who can get in there and light you up with combinations and be gone. And she doesn't
Sting.
care about.
Point you?
Yes.
She has some dog in her too. She can fight.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a 2-second break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the newly released fighters and what do you see for them. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Yoel Romero's release, and what would you like to see from him next?
Understandable, I guess. Yoel will, here's the thing with Yoel, right? Okay, so he's not going to be Izzy, but he can just about anybody else that's going to come through the top 5, right? And it's not a matter of okay, well, this guy should be able to beat Yoel, so we'll put him up against him. It's like at any given moment, any given fight, Yoel can explode and decapitate somebody like he did Whiteman, and there you have a contender just gone, and Yoel sits at the top. And let's be honest, the appetite for Yoel was not there anymore in the public, right?
I agree.
Or
Okay.
from the fans like it used to be, right?
Okay.
Back in the day it was, now it's not, right? That ended after the Adesanya fight. So the UFC is a business, it's entertainment driven. It doesn't do good business for them to have somebody who they're like, hey, listen, this guy's never going to be a huge draw for us again, and he's out there sitting here murdering our contenders. You could put the Kevin Hollands and the Joaquin Butleys up there if they make it up there, and maybe they do okay against them, or maybe Yoel knocks them clear across the fence, and it's the end of their career basically, or their title aspirations, and Yoel's never going to be the guy for you.
Okay. So in your opinion, the cut was you agree with the cut?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Lobo,
I understand the cut.
your thoughts on
Understand it.
Yoel, and what do you see next for him?
Aside from maybe competing in some different organizations, I'm not really sure where he was going to go from there.
UTBABYA.
Yeah, I got to agree with Mustang as far as for the UFC trying to look out for the future of the division. It's probably the right move for them because Yoel is just gonna fucking destroy so many new cats coming up because you just don't know what to do with him. He's so goddamn dangerous. So I think it was probably a good choice for them to let him go. However, I just want to see him fight. I want to see him fight any and everyone just to see what the fuck they try to do to deal with him.
That would be super entertaining.
Facts.
But yeah, I want him to be just the ultimate journeyman. Just fight everyone. I want to see what do you do when you're faced with the most ridiculous physical specimen on earth.
Is that how old is he now?
What, 40?
70? I don't know. He's a
43,
Cuban.
44,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's Cuban. He's not going to be truthful about his age.
True.
Yeah.
Unless you
So
find a
let's
legal
just
birth
say-
certificate.
All right, Justice,
Yeah.
what about yourself? What about yourself, Justice?
Again, as a fan, it's some bullshit. But business-wise, I get it. The guy's 43-ish something. And, if you get 2 more years out of him, and again, maybe he's not declining, but, if he can't beat Izzy, he knocks out Darren Till. He knocks out, you know, he fights Whitaker and puts Whitaker out, you know, because it's a tough fight for another year and a half. And he murders Cannonier and puts, you know, different guys through the ringer just by fighting them. Win, lose, or draw, like he's just he's just hurting the division, literally. You know, it's a business thing, and I get it. Now, where he goes from here, I don't know. Bellator said they don't want him, which is kind of crazy because I think he should get an immediate shot with Mousasi, which is be a great fight for Bellator. Because as Dana White said, Bellator is shit.
I think for me, when it comes to Yoel, I teeter-totter on this fence. Business-wise, I completely fucking understand. From a business standpoint, I would have sent that motherfucker his walking papers too. As a fan, if his last 2 or 3 fights are an indication of how he's going to be fighting moving forward, then I'm perfectly okay with the release. That Izzy fight was a fucking snooze fest, but I get it and I completely understand, because all it takes is one fucking mistake and somebody gets put in the fucking hospital or the morgue. So I completely understand. But when you're in the business of putting asses in seats and putting on entertaining fights, you standing up against the cage, you know, doing the Wing Chun blocks and just eating fucking leg kicks because they're not going to stop you. Yeah, it's entertaining the first 2 or 3 times, but then after a while it just gets old. It just gets boring, especially when the fans and the organization and the people know that you are capable of legally decapitating somebody with the fucking dragon uppercut at a moment's notice. That's what people want to see. And when you're not delivering that, like Mustang said, now you're just kind of holding up the fucking division. This is where I kind of think where they really need to make up their mind and figure out what they're going to do with some of those supplemental titles. I wouldn't have mind seeing him maybe fight for like a BMF title before potentially shit canning him. Me personally, because I am still a fan of watching him fight, and I know he is capable of putting on a show, and let's call it what it is. He's a bad motherfucker. Now, where he goes from here, honestly, the only choice that really makes any real sense for his age and for his current way of striking now and fighting would be Bellator. At least he closes out his career with, you know, a recognized fucking title. Another release that I'd like to get everyone's opinion on: the future ex-Mrs. Bradley, Rachel Ostrovich, recently released by the UFC. Your thoughts on that release and where you'd like to see her go next, besides my fantasies?
It was justified. She didn't look that. I mean, she should just go be an Instagram model.
I'm sorry, my mic went out. It sounded like you said porn.
How much money is she making on that? Right, like the last time I saw her look great in a fight look exciting in a fight was the Paige Van Zandt fight. She had like that step in overhand to that sweep that she did. That was badass. I love that. But beyond that, I think it's her time. I think she'll go to some other organization. She'll do well there. She'll go to Invicta or something like that. How old is she? Anybody know?
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
She's not doing OnlyFans. She has her own makeup collection and stuff like that. She has her own fight promotion in Hawaii.
She'll be fine.
I'm not being a stalker or anything. I just
she lives in a greenhouse with a red car.
Yeah, I just read up on
it. Yeah. I'm not checking for it.
She is beyond gorgeous, right? So, I mean, I think that she doesn't have to fight again, which, I mean, is very fortunate for her. But if she decides to fight, then I would say that she's probably going to go into it. I asked her age. Like, is she past, like, 27 or so? Is she past
I don't
early 20s?
think so. I don't think she's past her 30s.
I know nothing about her.
She's still...
Other than the fact that she's my favorite person to see in weigh-ins. That's
it. So if she's still in her 20s, let me see how old she is.
She's 29.
29.
She's 29.
I think it's probably late for her to make it back to the UFC. Honestly, and then after she finishes that, I think that
she can be a coach at Pornhub. Yeah, I'm okay with her never fighting again. To be honest with you, I'll be honest. I actually was never really a fan of her as a fighter, and outside of her weigh-ins and her interesting choice of attire, I can't really think of anything memorable about her inside of the cage. So gentlemen, let me ask you guys this, since we just talked about some releases. Rumble Johnson
went to Bellator.
What are your thoughts on him getting that release from the UFC and then going to Bellator? Because I think it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine for him personally. I wanted to see him back at 205 and UFC.
I think for his legacy, I think that's fucking genius. Leave UFC, go to Bellator, smash whoever the fuck holding that light heavyweight belt. Was it Volkov or whatever the fuck his name is? Volkov? Nemkov, yeah, fuck him. Go ahead and knock him clean the fuck unconscious. Take that belt. Go back to UFC as the former WSOF champion, the former Bellator champion, and hopefully by then the light heavyweight division might thin out.
He's not going to.
Yeah, right. I don't think he is either. I think once if his contract is pretty good with Bellator. I mean, he has money locked in at BKFC because he's an ambassador. He has the marijuana weed business going on, so he has a lot going on. What is it, Redcon or something like that? He does when he was doing the bodybuilding thing. So yeah, he has a bunch of stuff. Like he got a bunch of sponsors. I think that really he can actually make more money from fighting for Bellator now.
So you guys good with the move to Bellator? Because I sure as fuck am.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed, but yeah, I would have loved to see him versus Blachowicz. That would have been. Oh my god.
Who has the CBS network, sports network?
Nobody.
We'll never see that.
No, not I.
Oh, and then can you imagine Rumble versus Reyes? That would.
He would have killed Reyes.
Yeah, he'd have destroyed Reyes. That's not even entertaining.
Yeah, it would have. Oh, I beg to differ, sir. It would have been entertaining.
Yeah, it would have been entertaining.
Yeah, true. It'd have been another highlight reel.
About 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of some shit that's entertaining, the bullshit coming out in regards to ONE. How do you guys feel about that shit? Gag orders and fuckers being told not to talk out against the company publicly. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Didn't know about it. But
where is ONE based out of again?
Singapore.
Oh, shocking.
The funny thing is, it actually makes so much fucking sense, because for years, I always found it kind of odd that there was never a single unhappy motherfucker when it came to ONE FC. No one ever bitched about fighters' pay. No one ever bitched about, weight cutting. Nobody ever bitched about anything, and I thought that was fucking odd. And now, as more and more stuff's coming out, uncommon for some of the numbers to be a little exaggerated or some of the figures to not quite add up. And it's coming out more and more that, some of these figures that they're touting ain't quite as large as they tend to be. They're talking about, employees getting like damn near stacks of like 50, 60, 70 fucking tickets to just give away to people for free in order to fill up their crowds and audiences, so that way it can appear that they're selling out the biggest stadiums in all of Singapore. That makes a lot more sense to me now.
I 100% agree.
Because I just find it so odd that, they've got these monstrous fucking crowds and they're doing all these numbers and all this other shit, but I can only watch your shit on YouTube. I thought that was real odd.
In their defense, originally you had to pay for a subscription to Bleacher Report. It just became free during the pandemic. That you had to, you didn't have to pay that subscription, $9.99 or whatever it is a month.
Even that I still found odd. You're supposedly making all these millions of dollars. You can't somehow get a pay-per-view stream? That's odd. Fuckers like Twitch ain't trying to broadcast your shit. That's odd to me. I find it absolutely fucking hilarious now that, we're getting more and more details in regards to the inner workings of ONE FC, and a lot of shit makes far more sense. And I think it's great that they were able to boast for several years that they were the largest and best organization or whatever in fucking Asia, and they did it better than the UFC did and all that other type of shit all throughout Asia. I think that's great. It's wonderful. Especially now that I know that it's primarily all bullshit.
I had my doubts when, so it was, who were the three from the UFC that went over? It was Mighty Mouse and then like two others. Who was the
Alvarez?
Kid
Alvarez and Sage Northcutt. Whenever he wakes up,
when they threw Sage to the goddamn wolves.
He's still dead,
dude. They did that, and I went, something's fucking shady here, because that's not a long-term solution. Like unless you're trying to just make one example and then build everyone else up, but that just doesn't feel like something that you should be doing.
He literally broke his face.
It was horrific.
he hasn't fought since. Like,
I was just about
and
to
nor
ask
should
you.
he.
Yeah, I get that.
he has a look that people love, especially I guess little teenage girls. So,
I mean, I
yeah,
refer
I
to him
think
as the pretty guy. So yeah,
yeah,
like he's marketable, I suppose. But like,
yeah. You remember Sexy Yama from Pride?
Of
So
course.
he was the man during those
Yeah.
days, and ladies loved him. I think that's what it's about. I mean, it's no different than Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, but Sexyama didn't get his face smashed in.
yeah, Paige Van Dant didn't get fucking thrown to Amanda Nunes. Like,
But he had to take the fight. Well, according to Knight, he probably got forced to take the fight.
yeah, yeah.
You know, and like you said, he got thrown to the wolves. But hey, it is what it is.
See,
But that doesn't mean everybody's going to be the same way. I'm gonna be honest. You know, regardless of what's being said, you know, if they're running everything like the mob or the yakuza,
I'm okay with it because them fights are entertaining as fuck to me.
they are, and I would watch that any day over Bellator, whether they're free on YouTube or not, whether they got fake fans, fake tickets.
As I stated
Those
last
Muay Thai
week,
bouts. My only issue is waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning. But for some reason, I feel the need to. I forget Bellator is on Thursday, so whatever day it comes on.
Bellator is the Roman Reigns of MMA, and as I stated last week, as I have specified last week, I would rather watch my dog piss in the palm of my fucking hands and shit on the middle of my floor and smile back at me. I would rather watch that 10 times over than Roman Reigns. So if I had to choose between which organization of MMA I would choose to watch first, it would not be fucking Bellator. Sorry. I think I've seen Linton Vassell fight every goddamn week. Whenever I get bored and just look up a Bellator card, I see Linton Vassell's name, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing I need to tune into.
I mean, they got a couple people. They got Pico, they got Pitbull, they got Lima, they got MVP.
Now I will say this: Tony Mbaki's son is an absolute animal. Absolute animal. I don't care what you say, whatever. He is an animal. If he beats Pitbull, Dana better get him.
If he beats Pitbull,
he has to go get him.
he needs to just drop his drawers and shit on that Bellator belt and just quit right then and there because there's nothing more for him to achieve in that organization.
Yeah, he would have to leave. Like, there's no point. There's no point to be there no more because Pitbull is going to go down as probably the best fighter in Bellator history just because he's been there forever.
Facts.
Period.
And I completely
he beat
agree with
Pitbull.
you. He should just leave.
Yeah.
And speaking of leaving, that now brings me to last night's pay-per-view. Was that UFC 256?
Yep.
UFC 256.
Yep.
What I'm dubbing loser leaves town. It's time for a number of fighters to take them gloves, place them in the center of the octagon, and walk the fuck away. I'm talking to you, JD. I'm talking to you. And Ferguson, to a lesser extent, I think it's time. The code has been cracked, and the code breaker is Charles Oliveira. And Charles Oliveira has proven to me that I will never talk shit or pick on a motherfucker in glasses with blonde hair ever again. Because I refuse to be hip-controlled, folded, have my arm broken, and completely rode on for... for 15 straight minutes.
Double leg that he got him with, like when he picked him up, scooped him to the side, and how he slammed him.
Bro, I've been a Ferguson fan since day one, and I have never seen Ferguson get worked like that.
He is a 10th planet BJJ black belt under the great Eddie Bravo, but there was no mission control, no rubber guard, no anything.
That
against real BJJ
is the literal definition
well, when you fight with a broken arm for like 2 rounds.
Man, his arm run broke when he first got tossed in there.
He sure as fuck wasn't.
No, I know, but it was
damage incurred.
Yeah, his arm wasn't broke when he ate that fucking head kick and got outstruck.
Bro, man, like it should have been a submission victory. The end of round 1. However, I think it's even more impressive how he just dominated him the entire fight. Like, I've never thought that I would have seen Ferguson outclassed like that, and he did.
He cracked the code.
He just made him. He made him look like he did not belong. Like, bro, why are you here?
Like, it was Justice I was saying this to. I was saying this to Justice earlier on. When it came to Ferguson, The code for him got cracked several fights ago. I think Lando Venata was the first one to crack that code. Lando Venata took that fight with Ferguson on, 2 days' notice, went in there and did his little funky two-step dance or whatever, and damn near almost kicked his fucking head clean off. And then went on to proceed to damn near almost outstrike him until eventually gassing the fuck out. After that, Ferguson just started looking slower and slower and slower in his fights after that. And no disrespect to Showtime. Showtime is a great fighter. He's a former champion, yada, yada, yada. Could praise his accolades all day. Showtime damn near almost had him put him out. Showtime
he should have won
almost did do facts. Showtime was giving him the fucking business. The thing about Ferguson is if you don't let Ferguson get his offense going, it's very difficult for him to beat you. And I almost guarantee that was the game plan for Oliveira. Start early. Work your own pace. Don't let this dude ever get a chance to settle in on his punches. Don't let him get to do his weird herky-jerky movements. You just fucking take the fight to him and do what you fucking do. And he did. And I think more and more fighters, each time Ferguson steps into that cage, are going to start doing that. When Gaethje was working Ferguson's legs, was taking the fight clean out of him. Unfortunately, Gaethje had to be reminded that he's still human by running into that goddamn uppercut from Ferguson that almost fucking decapitated him. Luckily for him, his brain is made of, mashed potatoes, and he didn't fucking die from that.
You had to say it, didn't you?
I had to.
Listen, Gaethje and James Toney, they when they talk just the same. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got a mouthful of marbles. You can't make out anything that they're fucking saying. I'm going there and bring him to fight him. All right, cool, man. Good. I'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Cool. The code for Ferguson has now been cracked. It's been solved, and I think. Because I'm sure he's not going to retire from this. He's too stubborn to retire. He's going to be one of those guys that needs to be pushed and migrated into that master division we were talking about at the beginning of the show. See how I came full circle on that? But he's going to be callback. Exactly. He's going to be one of those guys that needs to be pushed into that before finally being pushed out. I think moving forward, let's call it what it is, man. That top 5, murderer's row. Absolute murderer's row.
And I think Oliveira can beat all of them. Not saying he will. I think he has the skill set to beat any one of them. You know what?
I have to agree with you.
Wait.
I want to see him versus Champ.
I know it's a bold claim, but you're not too far off.
I think he has the skill set to beat anyone in 155.
Well, I say he beat Gates. He beats Justin Gaethje.
Agreed.
I think he beats Gaethje. I think he does damn good fighting against Poirier, Conor, and Michael Chandler. Chandler's ain't even in the top 5 yet, but that's the fight I would want to see. I don't want to see Chandler versus Gaethje. I want to see Chandler versus Oliveira.
And I'm gonna go on a limb and say, you give him a couple of good fights, and he works on his striking defense. I think he beats Conor.
Agreed.
He might beat Conor right now.
Yeah, and the reason I say that because Conor has an issue with height. Nate Diaz, who is slow as molasses.
Nate is accurate,
but it's tough.
Nate has value.
Yeah, he is accurate. Yeah, if Oliveira can put any of that together and get him if he get him on the ground, Conor's done. I don't care how much he trained with Dylan Dennis. It doesn't matter.
I think the thing with agreed. I think the thing with Oliveira is like so he's long, he pressures, and he brings this energy where it's just like, yo, I don't respect you anywhere, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and he's fucking big. Right? Because remember, Tony fought at 170 at one time. Now, he was small at welterweight, but he still was at welterweight originally. Oliveira made him look like damn featherweight out there. He was huge. I don't even know how he was making featherweight, to be honest. He was killing himself.
I don't know either.
So clearly we're all in agreement that Charles Oliveira is the fucking future, and it would not be unsurprising to anybody if he gets that UFC gold wrapped around his waist. My question to you guys is, what's next for Ferguson, in your opinions?
Tony Ferguson needs a head coach. I know he's out of this world. That's what I'm saying. He's a little out of this world, but he needs a head coach.
At this stage, you think that would work?
Yeah, but if you can get him to working, like when he was with Death Clutch and Brock, like, he would listen to anything Brock tell him. Period. He needs somebody like that he respects, that where he'll be like, okay, I got you, I'm gonna listen. but he's not anybody else. It's not gonna work. He hasn't had a legitimate like head coach that's been with him consistently in 3 or 4 fights.
UTBABYA, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think unless Ferguson can get a head coach like Justice was saying that can really kind of like direct his energy, I don't think he's got a chance to do much other that he hasn't already done. And I mean, he's a weird dude. I don't know that he's gonna want to do that. So I think it's really just time for him to probably hang it up here, at least at the UFC.
Okay. Lobo, your thoughts on Ferguson? Should he retire or just keep going if he can get a head coach?
If he can get a head coach, he should keep going. Otherwise, retire.
I like it. Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland. Jacare and Kevin Holland, your thoughts? I've never in my life, outside of a video game, seen somebody beaten from their knees down to the ground. That was insane.
Bro, like I still hadn't fanboyed out like over a fight.
I put what that looked like in the chat.
Bruh. What'd you say?
I put what that fight looked like in the chat.
Yeah.
That is. Oh man, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That Ip Man GIF is my imitation of Kevin Holland and Jacare Souza.
This is Jacare. 2000, 2010, we talking about one of the big three in BJJ.
Right.
Gi and no gi. We not talking about Gordon Ryan shit. John Danaher. We talking about gi and no gi. Always. Only person he couldn't be was Roger Gracie. Kevin Holland's guard has to be legit. His BJJ has to be legit.
He's a black belt.
Yeah, and Travis Luter, he's legit.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to be legit.
I'll see him versus Izzy.
I was just about to say that. I think he's a good matchup for Izzy because he's unorthodox.
Yep. All right. Then we had JDS versus Cyril Gane.
Yeah, we are.
Hang him up.
I mean,
It's time.
Yeah.
Hang him up, JDS.
It's time. Hang him
Listen,
up.
These European guys, French, Russian, Eastern European guys, they're coming. These guys are not
playing nice.
They ain't not playing nice. These ain't no rookies. These guys are legitimate good strikers coming out.
Raphael Fiziev. What's his name? Raphael Fiziev?
I'm getting to that.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I'm saving that one. I'm saving that.
Yeah, we had the top of the card already.
No. That's literally the last thing I'm gonna talk about for this card. So hold on to that.
My bad. My bad. Sorry.
Oh yeah, then we had Cub Swanson fighting, Daniel Pineda,
Yeah, I thought Pineda was gonna break Cub, man. The way he hit him with those leg kicks.
Man, I got to give Cub his credit. Cub rallied back, and man, he did the damn thing. I will give Cub a lot of credit because honestly, I thought Pineda had that ass.
Yeah, same.
You know what made me mad during that fight? The way Cub throws punches, he kind of loops him, but the one time he throws a 1-2 down the pipe, he lays out, and I'm like, bruh, come on.
That shit was clean.
Yeah. You killing me. That was too clean. It was fast too.
Raphael Fiziev taking on Renato Moicano.
First, can I say something? Can I?
Please.
Moncayo has a black belt in Muay Thai. When can I try for my white belt in Muay Thai?
Man, after watching the way he was striking, man, he needs to go ahead and fold up that black belt and give it right back to whoever handed it to him.
That's a switch kick, man. Like that reminded me of some legit glory. That's some glory kickboxing type striking, right? That's some glory kickboxing, like champion.
That knockout was clean.
The combination.
Oh my god! Did you see how fast his switch kick was?
Man,
that shit made.
Was it a switch?
Was it a switch?
No. I'm not talking about the knockout combination. I'm talking about
the switch kick. That's what I'm saying. Was it a switch? Because man, that
leg
it
was
came.
A switch.
Oh,
it was a switch.
Bruh, stop.
It was a switch. It was a left switch kick.
Those kicks, the way those kicks was landing. I mean, I think the dude's a striking coach at Tiger Muay Thai for goodness sakes. Like I don't know I don't know what else to say other than that.
Yeah.
Future champ. Saying it now.
Yeah.
Davison Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno. Fight of the year?
So I will say, I still give it to Whaley and Joanna.
Okay.
But what I will say is the fact that dude was in the hospital till 2 a.m. the night before, still went out and fought. Like, so here's what I say, right? I feel like the UFC, like, for the fans, it was great. I props to Figueiredo and Moreno for doing that 3-week turnaround. To say that this dude was in the hospital less than 24 hours later, less than 24 hours prior to that fight, absolutely amazing job. And I'd like to see both of the gentlemen get a nice rest, full training camp. I think that Davison does a better job next time.
I agree. And I also think that the point deduction fucked him.
That's true, too. I actually thought he was going to lose because of it, honestly. Because of the takedowns with Moreno. Like, Figueiredo was obviously landing, like, the clean, harder shots or whatever. But, judging in MMA, like, those takedowns. And he was pissing me off because he got taken down twice off of that elbow he was trying to throw. Like, he was throwing some type of elbow or whatever, giving his back, and the next thing you know, like, down he goes. So, Moreno did a great job. It was a great fight. But, yeah, man, he doesn't ever need to return around again.
Yeah, I think that Figueiredo, I think he's that good at getting back up off the ground that he wasn't really worried about the takedowns. But I think strategically that's a bad idea. Like you said, he could have very well lost. That fight would have went either way.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been mad. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think he's used to game planning, though. Honestly, I don't think he's used to having to. I think he's like, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna murder this person, and that's gonna be it. I'm not getting paid by the hour here. That
jab that he throws.
Oh my god.
He has a good sense of a great sense of range because he slips the counters, bruh, man. I mean, when he was hitting Moreno, I just want to say, Moreno's he got Mexican heart, bro. Because there's no way no other person would have taken them shots like that. They would have folded and crumpled over.
Bro, I wasn't even there. I was folding over.
You saw his eye at the end. Yeah.
No, Justice, help me understand, because you said you understood the point deduction. Help me understand.
So me and Mustang was chatting about it in the chat. We was talking about it was probably gonna be a draw, point deduction, it hurt, blah blah blah. Figueiredo is like Mustang said, he doesn't game plan. He's kind of wild out there, and I think that the ref had to dial him back in, to be honest. Because if he would have poked him in the eye again, that could have easily been a disqualification versus kicking the balls in the point deduction, and then we're out of a fight. So the ref has to get some type of control, like, over the fight. Now, did it hurt Figueiredo? Yes, it did, because he slowed down big time after that.
Yeah, he did.
And Moreno, he stepped it up, and I think he became gun shy at that point because he couldn't, his full on arsenal techniques and how he does things, he was holding back. But the ref still has to get some type of control. It was like when who was it? Frank Shamrock was kneeing Henzo in the head from the bottom.
Yes, sir.
You got to get some type of control. Yeah, stuff happens. Fingers, sometimes a punch to the back of the head. But you got somebody that's just going crazy, just a wild man. Like, you got to get some type of control. So I get it. I didn't like it, but I get it. Okay, I got you.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, you help me understand. I'll give you that.
Thankfully, it wasn't Herb Dean. There's no telling what would have happened. Thankfully,
I'll give you that.
Still like your Herb Dean, you're the man.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you guys for joining me this evening for another exciting edition of H8L Presents Fist Fights and Fried Rice. Once again, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your evenings to join me on this. Definitely have some great laughs. Everybody made some great, wonderful points. Definitely looking forward to our next episode. Let's get the fuck out of here.